I don't think it's in Cleveland. And I say that because I'm not convinced that the coaching staff wanted to draft him. And you could kind of see that they blocked with everything they had him playing or even feeling like he was a player that they were developing. I never got that sense that they were putting the effort in this season with Shedeur even as a backup to get him prepared for the moment that arose with the injury to Dylan Gabriel. Now, obviously he played really well in the first start. The second start, he gets nicked up. And so we'll see how that goes the rest of the season. But honestly, my guess is depending on what, is it the same general manager, Andrew Berry? Is it the same head coach, Kevin Stefanski, next year? If it is, I think that he's playing now to get the attention of the other 31 organizations to try to get an opportunity, whether that's it would most likely have to be in a trade, or else he's going to have to ride out the remaining 3 years in his rookie deal.
A Cleveland insider just exposed the uncomfortable truth about Kevin Stefanski's feelings toward Shedeur Sanders and what NFL draft analyst Todd McShay revealed on his podcast about the coaching staff blocking with everything they had to prevent Shedeur from playing is sending shockwaves through Browns Nation. Cleveland.com's Ashley Bastock was asked directly about McShay's claim that Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff didn't want to draft him and never got the sense they were putting the effort in to develop him, and her response, while trying to defend the organization, actually confirmed that there's serious tension between Stefanski and Shedeur that could force the Browns to make a major decision this offseason. Even more explosive, Bastock admitted that it's fair to wonder whether no matter how well Shedeur plays down the stretch, whether Kevin still has his reservations about him. And she raised the question that has Browns fans terrified. Is Kevin Stefanski a fit with Shedeur in how we want to run an offense, suggesting that one of them might have to go for this relationship to work? The evidence is piling up that Stefanski never wanted Shedeur, never believed in him, and is now being forced by Andrew Berry and ownership to play him. But can this fractured relationship be salvaged, or is one of them already planning their exit from Cleveland? Look, we need to talk about what just went down on Cleveland.com's show, because this wasn't just another routine media appearance. This was a Cleveland insider being put on the spot about one of the most explosive claims to come out about the Browns organization all season, and her response basically confirmed everything we've been suspecting about Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders. Let me set the scene for you. Todd McShay, one of the most respected NFL draft analysts in the business, went on the Triple Option podcast and dropped an absolute bomb about the Browns and Shedeur Sanders. And when the Cleveland.com hosts played the clip for Ashley Bastock, a Browns insider who's in the building every day, you could feel the tension through the screen. Here's what McShay said, and I need you to listen to every word, because this is explosive. I don't think it's in Cleveland, and I say that because I'm not convinced that the coaching staff wanted to draft him, and you could kind of see that they blocked with everything they had him playing, or even feeling like he was a player that they were developing. They blocked with everything they had. Y'all, that's not speculation. That's not a hot take. That's Todd McShay, someone with sources throughout the league, saying that Kevin Stefanski and his coaching staff actively resisted Shedeur Sanders from day one. McShay continued, I never got that sense that they were putting the effort in this season with Shedeur, even as a backup, to get him prepared for the moment that arose with the injury to Dylan Gabriel. Let that sink in. A respected NFL analyst is saying on the record that the Browns coaching staff was not putting in the effort to develop their fifth-round quarterback. They weren't preparing him. They weren't investing in him. They were hoping he'd just fade into the background and never have to see the field.
Shedeur Sanders, because look, I think we can fairly sort of nitpick certain things the Browns have done, but I definitely don't think they didn't care or tried to develop him. I think it was the opposite. I think maybe they made some mistakes in their development. My biggest gripe with his development was the fact that he didn't get any first-team reps before the first week he was starting. So he went into that Ravens game.
Bastock's first instinct was to defend the organization. She said, "I definitely don't think they didn't care or tried to develop him. Like, I think it was the opposite. I think maybe they made some mistakes in their development." Okay, so she's saying they did try to develop him, but they made mistakes. Let's talk about those mistakes because they're actually huge. Bastock continued, "My biggest gripe with his development was the fact that he didn't get any first-team reps before the first week he was starting, so he went into that Ravens game without those first-team reps." Hold up. Your rookie quarterback, who you're about to start against the Ravens, one of the best defenses in the league, didn't get any first-team reps before that game? That's not a mistake. That's sabotage. But Bastock tried to justify it. I understand the logic, right? They were saying, well, Dillon's a rookie. He needs those reps too. Well, if you want Shedeur Sanders, who is also a rookie, to be the guy as the backup, then he needs to have some experience with these guys in case he was thrown in there like he ultimately was. So even the Cleveland insider is admitting that the Browns completely failed to prepare Shedeur for the moment when he'd inevitably need to play. They prioritized Dillon Gabriel, who they clearly preferred, over Shedeur, even though Shedeur was the backup and should have been getting backup reps. But here's where Bastock's defense of the organization starts to crack, because she tried to paint a picture of Stefanski being supportive by saying, everyone that we talk to always talks about how basically this whole season, Shedeur Sanders has been one of, if not the first person in the building, and he'll go in Kevin Stefanski's office and they'll go over the film. Okay, so Shedeur is the first person in the building every day studying film with the head coach. That sounds great, right? Wrong. Because that's Shedeur's work ethic despite the coaching staff, not because of it. That's Shedeur forcing himself into Stefanski's office and making him pay attention. That's not the coaching staff developing him, that's Shedeur developing himself while the coaching staff tried to ignore him. And Bastock basically admitted this when she said, "I certainly don't think the Browns didn't care about his development and are trying to trade him away at this point. I mean, I definitely think they are continuing to audition him to see if he can be their guy next year." Audition him. Y'all, franchise quarterbacks don't get auditioned. You know who your franchise quarterback is. But the Browns are still treating Shedeur like he has to prove himself every single week, even after historic performances. But then Bastock said something that exposes the real issue. One of the hosts asked if it would be fair to wonder whether no matter how well Shedeur plays down the stretch, whether Kevin still has his reservations about him, and Bastock's response was damning. "I also think it would be fair to wonder whether no matter how well Shedeur plays down the stretch, whether Kevin still has his reservations about him, and I think that's a sticky wicket. Like, I could see the Browns having to have the conversation of if Shedeur is going to be our guy going forward, is Kevin Stefanski a fit with Shedeur in how we want to run an offense or how we want to run the team?" Boom, there it is. A Cleveland insider just confirmed on air that Kevin Stefanski might still have reservations about Shedeur even if he plays great the rest of the season. And she raised the possibility that the Browns might have to choose between their coach and their quarterback. That's not defending the organization, that's confirming the dysfunction. The other host followed up. I mean, I think that's a fair question again, right? And those are all things I think that will get answered in the aftermath of this season. And Bastock agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think the wins and losses are going to play a factor in it. I think how he does is going to play a factor in it, meaning Shedeur. So we'll have to wait and see on all that. Like, I don't think it means it absolutely cannot work, and one of them has to go somewhere else, or both of them have to go somewhere else.
I mean, we've written this, but like Quinshon Judkins refused to talk after Sunday, which, as we all know, is a big no-no, right? You can't do that. You can get fined. It's in their contracts as part of the CBA. So guys were doing things like that, leaving without talking. And that to me is like shows the frustration, obviously. And when you have a 3-win team, not surprising it kind of takes that direction. But I mean, I do agree, JP. I feel like we were actually just talking about this in the media room today, this idea of Shedeur played well And I think the Browns as a whole, kind of in the narrative surrounding that game, caught a huge break, because if Shedeur didn't play well, or like if Dillon Gabriel had started that game and played poorly, the narrative would be totally different about you just lost to a one-win Titans team.
Where Shedeur Sanders played great, but the defense gave up 184 rushing yards to a 1-11 Titans team. But then Bastock said something fascinating. I do agree. I feel like we were actually just talking about this in the media room today. This idea of Shedeur played well, and I think the Browns as a whole, kind of in the narrative surrounding that game, caught a huge break, because if Shedeur didn't play well, or if Dillon Gabriel had started that game and played poorly, the narrative would be totally different about you just lost to a 1-11 Titans team. So Shedeur Sanders playing great actually saved Kevin Stefanski and the Browns from a much harsher narrative about losing to a 1-11 team. Shedeur's performance gave them cover, gave them something positive to talk about, gave them hope. And yet, Kevin Stefanski is the same coach who tried to prevent Shedeur from ever getting this opportunity in the first place. That's the irony of this entire situation. Shedeur Sanders is saving Kevin Stefanski's reputation and possibly his job by playing so well that people are focusing on the positives instead of the organizational dysfunction. But Stefanski is the same guy who blocked with everything he had to prevent Shedeur from playing. Now, let's address what Shedeur needs to do moving forward, because Bastock actually gave some solid analysis here. She said, I think the biggest thing for him is to avoid the big mistake. With any rookie quarterback, you're going to have these learning experiences, and I think he needs to continue to be himself and not play afraid. And she's right. Shedeur threw an interception in the third quarter that gave the Titans the lead back. That was a learning moment, but she also said, I don't think anything we've ever seen from Shedeur Sanders at this level or in college suggests he would go out there and play afraid to make that mistake. I think he still needs to look for those explosive opportunities. Exactly. That's what makes Shedeur special. He's not afraid. He trusts his arm. He believes in his ability to make plays. And that's exactly what Kevin Stefanski has been trying to coach out of him all season. Bastock continued, but in that situation, that 2nd and 20, you want to be that spark, but you still have to be able to quickly differentiate when you just need to live to see another down, or when you need to throw the ball away versus trying to make the hero play. That's fair coaching advice, and you know what? Shedeur is learning that. He's getting better every week. He's making those adjustments in real time. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. But here's the key line from Bastock that explains why Shedeur Sanders is the future in Cleveland, whether Kevin Stefanski likes it or not. It's undeniable this offense has an explosiveness with him that it did not have earlier this year because of his ball placement. Undeniable. Even the Cleveland insider who's trying to defend the organization can't deny that Shedeur Sanders has completely transformed the Browns' offense. The explosiveness, the big plays, the ability to stretch the field, none of that existed with Joe Flacco, Mason Rudolph, or Dillon Gabriel. It only exists with Shedeur Sanders. And that puts Kevin Stefanski in an impossible position because he can't go back to a conservative game manager offense after the fans have seen what Shedeur can do. He can't suppress Shedeur's playmaking ability when it's the only thing giving the Browns a chance to win. So now we're at a crossroads, and Ashley Bastock laid out the two possible outcomes. Option 1, Kevin Stefanski gets on board with Shedeur Sanders, embraces his playmaking ability, designs an offense around his strengths, and they move forward together. Option 2, the Browns decide that Stefanski and Shedeur are a bad fit, and one or both of them has to go. And based on everything we've seen, the way Stefanski buried Shedeur, the way he refused to give him reps, the way he takes him out for crucial plays, the way Todd McShay says the coaching staff blocked with everything they had, it's hard to see option 1 happening. Because even if Stefanski says he's on board, even if he claims he believes in Shedeur, his actions all season have proven otherwise, and actions speak louder than words. So the question becomes, does Jimmy Haslam choose his coach or his quarterback? And if you're asking me, the answer is obvious. You can find another coach. Franchise quarterbacks are rare, and Shedeur Sanders has shown in just 3 starts that he has elite potential. First Browns quarterback since 1950 with 300 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown in the same game. Seventh rookie in the Super Bowl era to throw for 360 yards with 4 total touchdowns, joining Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Andrew Luck, and Matthew Stafford. That's franchise quarterback company. And if Kevin Stefanski can't see that, can't embrace that, can't build around that, then Kevin Stefanski is the problem, not Shedeur Sanders. Todd McShay might be right that Shedeur is playing to get the attention of the other 31 organizations, not because Shedeur wants out, but because the Browns coaching staff has made it clear they never wanted him in the first place. And that's the tragedy of this situation. The Browns stumbled into a franchise quarterback in the 5th round, and their coaching staff is so stubborn, so resistant to change, so committed to their preferred guys that they're willing to let him walk rather than admit they were wrong. But here's the good news for Shedeur Sanders. His play is undeniable. His talent is elite. His work ethic is unmatched. And even a Cleveland insider who's trying to defend the organization can't deny any of that. So whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else, Shedeur Sanders is going to be a star in this league. The only question is whether Kevin Stefanski will be coaching him when it happens. So here's my question for all of you. Is Todd McShay right that Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff never wanted Shedeur Sanders and blocked him from playing? Does Ashley Bastock admitting it's fair to wonder whether Kevin still has his reservations prove there's dysfunction between coach and QB? And should the Browns choose Shedeur over Stefanski if they can't make this relationship work? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this insider interview just exposed the uncomfortable truth about what's really happening in Cleveland. If you think Shedeur Sanders deserves a coach who actually believes in him, instead of one who blocked with everything they had to prevent him from playing, smash that subscribe button. Todd McShay dropped the bomb. Ashley Bastock tried to defend the organization, but ended up confirming the tension. And now Browns fans are demanding answers about Stefanski's future. Let's go.